Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking a lot about prophecy stuff lately, and I gotta say the subject for today is going to be very interesting. It relates to the issue of Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, the mark of the beast, the Antichrist, and I think it's a pretty good subject. So let's lay down a couple of things. First of all, there have been a lot of questions about Bitcoin, specifically Bitcoin, and a lot of questions that have come my way about cryptocurrency and so on and so forth, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But let's talk about the subject of the issue of a cashless society that's coming up. Now, first of all, I want to address one very important thing. A lot of people have been making claims that the Bible doesn't make any reference to a cashless society at all. Okay, now I would very much disagree. I believe the reference to a cashless society is something that is directly inferred based on a passage in the book of Revelation. Now, first of all, let me just simply say this. As we talk about the subject of the final Antichrist, as we talk about the subject of the mark of the beast, 666, so on and so forth, Christians will already be raptured by this time, okay? They get raptured before the Antichrist himself is actually even revealed. So there's no way Christians are on the earth, and there's no way that a Christian will be given an opportunity to accept the mark of the beast, because the opportunity to accept or reject the mark of the beast can only happen after the Antichrist has allowed himself to be worshipped, set himself up in the temple to be worshipped, and demanded to be worshipped, causing the abomination that causes desolate there in the temple. That would be the beginning of Jacob's trouble in the last 3.5 years of the tribulation. Now, I talk a lot about this, and I'll do a link to the first series in timeline prophecy, Bible prophecy timeline stuff. I can link it at the end of this video for those of you that are watching on YouTube. So when we get to the subject of the Antichrist, let me just simply say this. Let me simply say that we won't be dealing with him as Christians. Okay, now with that, let me read Revelation chapter 13, verse 16. It says, "He causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of man, and this number is 666. So 666. Now, I want to focus on the fact that it's basically telling us right here that no man, this is very literal here, no man might buy or sell save he had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Right? And let me just give this in a more modern translation. It says that no one can buy or sell unless he has the mark, the beast's name, or the number of his name. Now, that's literal. It's basically telling us that not a person, you cannot buy or sell, period. It doesn't say, well, you can't buy or sell in the mainstream. It doesn't say you can't buy or sell except the black market. There's a black market where you can go and buy and sell. No, it says no man will be able to buy or sell, period. There's no qualification unless they have the mark of this beast. And this is why we get the whole idea of a cashless society, because cash will no longer be the currency for the purchase or the sale of anything. What will be the currency is an identification piece that shows you are working with the New World Order. Now, the question is how do you have a contract? How do you create consideration? Well, there's a number of ways where this could potentially happen, and thus this is where we get the subject of Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. Now, let me just make a comment about Bitcoin. I really don't believe that Bitcoin is going to last very much longer. And the reason why I don't believe it is because it cannot be regulated by any type of central banking system because of how it works. I do believe that there will be some type of new cryptocurrency formation that will take place that can be regulated. And I really do believe that governments around the world will stop the use of regular Bitcoin as we understand it, because if they can't regulate it, then they cannot exhaust their power. And the totalitarianism required by the Antichrist to be able to execute that which he desires has to be one in which money or currency is actually controlled, right? And so you can't control currency when you have paper exchange, you can't control currency where there is some kind of a tangible type of a cash. It's very likely that the only way that it can be controlled is some sort of digital currency, right? So this is why cryptocurrency is very likely going to be the mechanism that the Antichrist uses, but it's probably not as we understand it right now. I think it's going to be further developed. I think it's going to be something that can be digitally tracked, which is something you cannot find right now in Bitcoin. But there are some forms of cryptocurrency that are coming out where that type of thing can actually happen. Now, this is a very important thing to understand because this is exactly how the Antichrist or the final Antichrist is going to control whether or not something is actually purchased. Now, mind you, these are all assumptions that we make based on what is literally stipulated in the text. And what's literally stipulated in the text is very simple, and that is nobody, not a single soul, can buy or sell anything unless they have the mark of the beast. Now, I'm not going to tell you that this is the way it's going to happen. Please don't think that this is the way it's going to happen. But let me give you kind of a possibility. This is one of many possibilities. I'm not saying the Bible says that this exact mechanism is going to take place, but imagine that you get some kind of a microchip implanted in you, okay? Let's just pretend, and I'm not going to even talk about how that microchip gets implanted in you because then that could end up, YouTube could, kick us off or whatever. But let's just say you get some kind of a microchip implanted in you. Very similar to how dogs have microchips implanted into them, that type of a thing. And is that chip the mark? Absolutely it's not, right? Because the mark is a literal piece of identification on the forehead or on the right hand. It's really, really simple. That's how the mark of the beast actually works. But imagine, listen, right now I can buy and sell with my watch. I can actually open up a hotel door room with my watch once they send the key to the watch. So imagine if somebody wanted to take my watch, they could theoretically take it, they could figure out the passcode, they can open it, and they could, of course, exploit the use of my stored credit card information. That seems still to be very archaic to the world that the Antichrist will be governing, and it's very possible that what they'll do is they'll implant some kind of a microchip within the body that cannot be specifically located. It'll be anywhere, wherever it wants to float within the body. I assume that that might be the case. They'll probably locate it in secret positions depending on, what you select. There are probably 50 or 100 different places you could put it. And then in order to show that you are somebody who was compliant with such a thing, you put a mark on your forehead or on your right hand, a very convenient place where somebody could see that you are in compliance with the final Antichrist. And when they can see that, they know you're a productive citizen. You probably are part of the social crediting system. Whatever it might be, you now have whatever is necessary to be able to function. And I think that's probably one likely scenario of how that might happen, right? So this is what we know for sure. What we do know for sure is that you won't be buying or selling things based on the cash mechanism, because if you have cash in your hand, you have no way of regulating whether or not somebody has taken the mark of the beast. It would never work, because what it seems to infer in Revelation 13 is the absence of a black market, right? There can't be a black market. Why? Because the Bible says it uses absolute terms. Nobody will be able to buy or sell unless they have the mark of the beast. So that's what we know, and how that actually works. The details, of course, they can change at any moment with technology, but it's very obvious that it's going to be something like that. And this is why we get the idea of no cash or a cashless society. So hopefully that helps kind of answer the question about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. I think that's kind of the future of it. That's all we got, folks. God bless you. We'll see you on the next one.